Mm-hmm. Mic check, mic check, mic check.
A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P.
It's funny.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You're doing this thing. Excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Smart. Don't be nervous over there. He's like, be quiet, girl.
Huh? Oh,
He said, "Don't be nervous."
okay.
He said, "No
I got you. I'm gonna do some breathing techniques
Oh, got you. Love it.
so that way I don't. You know what I mean,
I love it.
yeah,
That way you don't what?
be nervous like you said.
For sure. We could do it together. Diaphragmatic breathing. Let's get into it.
I like that. Yeah, I'll say camera right. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You know what you're doing. There you go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Feliz Navidad. Yo bueno no lo misia. You got it. All right.
Okay. Wait, which one is mine? Here or here? Main camera. Okay, perfect. Hey, what's up, y'all? You are listening to your Mental Matters podcast. I'm your girl Mo, and for those of you watching, thank you for tuning in. We are back with another episode and a very special guest. We have Smart Guy in the building.
Yes. Yes.
Hi, Smart
How you
Guy.
doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate you.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah, so I feel like this is gonna be a sweet one for the audience because I guess the way that I kind of was introduced, I've come across your content prior, but I was introduced to you after one of your recent episodes that kind of went like viral, that kind of went
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And it was like a three guy podcast. You, um, one of my homies and super engineers here, Wolf,
Mm-hmm.
and the other gentleman I don't know, but I think the conversation that you guys were having was intriguing to me, and
Right. Right.
even just like your delivery and your approach, I was like, who is this guy, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like I would love to kind of like talk to you and kind of like pick your brain and kind of get to know like the essence of who you are and how you even came into like just talking about some of the things that you were sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you again. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Um. Well, now, well, I would say like just doing more research and understanding of like who we are as a people
Mm.
and who am I,
Yeah.
right? Um, we are the scientists of life.
Mm.
We are the fathers and mothers of civilization,
Mhm.
and we're the original people.
Yeah.
So I think I've been on a journey, and it's been an unquenchable thirst, right? Like to hydrate myself with just our contributions and to hydrate myself with our accomplishments
Yeah.
and who we are as black men and black women,
Right.
and separating myself and trying my best to insulate myself from the subconscious conditioning that we go through here in America, and we've been going through for over um 500 years,
For
right?
sure.
um so I think that's what that is,
Mm.
y- you know which I feel is starting to comprise um me, like what's developing me, or what's my makeup, like striving to be um a representation of what my forefathers was,
Got you.
transcending past you know slavery, or what we thought we come from, in terms of being here in America. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
No, thank you for sharing that. And I know you mentioned like just kind of like the conditioning part, right? And
Yeah.
what do you think are some of like the main things when you think about the conditioning that maybe our community,
Hmm.
our people have been like exposed to?
Well, it's a couple things, right? So, just my recent studies, right? A
Yeah.
couple things I was going over was
Mm,
just like, okay, one, not having an African name,
mm,
right? And then not having an African name, what does that? What does that create, right?
yeah.
That creates low self-esteem. It creates self-hate. It creates kind of like a black sheep kind of a, existence. Um, Also like seeking acceptance,
Yeah.
right? And then also us not having a language. Like we
Mm,
don't have a universal language for black people, right? Spanish, Chinese people speak Chinese, right? White people speak English, right? We don't have a universal language. We just have dialects. We don't have our own language, right?
gotcha.
Um, because our language has been stolen from us.
Mm,
Um, and when we don't have our own language, it's hard for us to organize. It's also playing a part in erasing our world identity.
mm,
We don't feel like we come from anything,
mm,
right? And there's an excuse that, oh, you know how enormous Africa is? Well, population in China is tremendous,
mm,
and they have two main languages, Cantonese and Mandarin,
right.
right? So I feel like these are these are the some of the main things, and I think if we don't address these things, we're going to continue to see our people here in America live the way we live. So my focus is, like my whole mission statement is to not only bring awareness, but to bring um, solutions,
Yeah.
right? And make sure that I display an unapologetic, politically incorrect brand,
Okay.
and to be relentless. So what you saw in that video was me saying that a man has to do certain things,
Yep.
and you have to be incomparable or uncompromising
Mm-hmm.
in these specific areas, such as keeping your word, being a protector, being a provider, being the head of your household,
Yeah,
and et cetera, et cetera.
for sure.
Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that. And when did you first begin like having these ideals? Like do you feel like this came about like recently? Do you feel like you always felt this way? Like when did the shift happen for you where you were like, "You know what? No, this is what I stand for and this is what I believe in."
Well, I was thinking about that um last night,
Yeah.
right before I got here,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking about it, right, and I was thinking about it, and you know, I was like, well, I've always had this.
Yeah.
I've always had this as a kid. I always felt that I was special. I
Mm-hmm.
always felt that um I was great. I always felt that I had tremendous power,
Mm-hmm.
and I would get visions and premonitions even as a kid, 5, 4 years old, and I was under tremendous stress, and I was coming from a dysfunctional family, abusive home, mother, a drug addict, father not there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember early on always knowing that I was special.
Yeah.
And I think that was, you know, wait, hold on, sorry. I got brush. I'm blowing those.
No, go ahead.
My bad.
Take your
I
time.
got you.
Do your thing. Mhm. No, no, no. Take your time. Do you think? No, listen. I feel it. I feel it. You doing your thing.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay, sorry. Ah! All right, let's go.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Well, the ancestors time.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's recalibrate this thing here.
Let's recalibrate.
Okay, I got you. So,
Hmm.
um, sorry about that. Okay, so I want to let me let me go back to the question, right? With the first question, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, no. I want. I don't know if you finished your last thought, which was you were saying you would have premonitions
oh yeah.
very
So
young and stuff.
no, but it goes back to like, okay, so like my mindset, right? Like
Yeah.
um realizing that, hey, I don't have an African name.
Okay.
Why don't I have an African name, right? And then started realizing that me not feeling connected
Hmm.
to home,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
Um, Started to create low self-esteem. And
Hmm.
then my natural thing is I'm a fighter. I've been abused by my mother. My father never was around. And as a kid, early childhood,
Hmm.
I, I pushed back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't allow circumstances, lack of nurturing, lack of empathy. It never affected me, right?
Yeah.
I will always resist it, right? And I
Hmm.
think God was, because God was choosing me to be, what I'm evolving into now,
Hmm.
right? So the low self-esteem, I would address it with just positive thoughts,
Yeah.
right? And then that developed into an affirmation that I have now. When you get one negative thought, replace it with 100 positive thoughts. So
Hmm.
as a kid, my mother's locking me in closet. She's going out to get high, and I could feel my mother trying to destroy me, like destroy my spirit, and I would just resist,
Yeah.
and I would say to myself, "No, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry," and I would have that positive self talk. Even before I knew that was like positive self talk or
Mhm.
um, you know, uh, 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 repetitive subconscious thinking, right?
Yeah.
Um, then me understanding that through this search for self, right? Like, who am I? Well, I'm a God. Who am I? I'm a scientist of life. Who am I? I'm a father of civilization. Who am I? I'm the original man. Who am I? I am genetically superior, you know, because of the melanin, because of the neuromelanin that's in my body, right? Like I'm powerful, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm like this powerful being.
Yeah.
And then when I'm doing more research, and then the research is not, I have you know, a due diligence that's not interfered
Mm.
by outside influences.
Hmm.
I'm not whitewashed. The colonizer is not in my skull when I'm reading this information, and I'm feeling empowered.
Hmm.
I'm feeling empowered. Um, and I'm realizing that there's certain things that I can do,
Yeah.
right? And there's like really no limitations.
Mm.
And then now this mantra that I have now, I'm starting to understand that, hey, how you think creates how you feel. How you feel becomes an emotion. That emotion becomes a vibration. That vibration becomes a magnet that attracts things to you. So as a kid, this is happening very, very young.
Yeah.
And I'm having these visions and this I'm it's a battle, right? Because I'm in a dysfunctional family. My
Hmm.
mother's not around. My mother, and when she is around, she's high, she's abusing me. My father's not there. So it's like, am I really great?
Mm.
But then I hear this voice that I can't quiet, right?
Hmm.
And that's God, right? That's God talking to me, letting me know who I am and what I'm capable of doing. So this confidence, this je ne sais quoi, this whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
it started to be cultivated. It started to be cultivated in me early, very early. Yeah.
Right. No, thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Wow. I feel like you have like an amazing like testimony, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that what you're speaking to is like resilience, right?
Yeah.
Because I think like there are some people who may come from similar circumstances as you, but aren't as resilient, aren't able to like rise above certain things,
Hmm.
and it really just takes a toll on them, like in a really like
But it goes back. But listen, it goes back. It
yeah.
it goes back to what I'm talking about, right? Like, basically, systemic racism,
Mm.
right? Like, then when we don't have a language,
Mm-hmm.
how can we organize,
Yeah.
right? If we go into a room and we don't speak the same language,
Mm-hmm.
but we look alike, it's the weirdest shit in the world. Imagine two dogs coming in the room and one is making sounds like a fish and the other is barking,
Mm.
right? Obviously, you got one that knows who he is, and another one who thinks he's something that he's not,
For sure.
right? And then now this disdain
Mm-hmm.
that's created, right? So we got to understand that, we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned.
Yeah.
Churches. our religious institutions, the church, the mosque, right?
Mm-hmm.
They sold us out. There's like this soothing approach that happens where it's like it's going to be all right, accept this. We're being led into burning houses by our religious leaders.
Mm.
We're being led into houses that have drones scheduled to drop bombs on top of them, right? And all the food at the dinner in these homes is laced with fucking cyanide and poison, right? And we go to these churches, we go to these mosques, we go to these religious centers, and we're just taught nothing that's relevant to us when we should be taught um, business development, allocation of capital, and God's financial plan for Black people. God's financial plan for our people is living expenses times four, times 12, times 100. That's generational wealth. So when we go to church, when you on Sunday, when you go to the masjid on Friday, it should be a reinforcement of God's financial plan for us, and we get that finances from provision. So through provision, and provision is the thing that um for every idea and endeavor that we have, it's almost like God's Midas touch, turning our ideas and our endeavors into gold, and,
Yeah.
and assuring that we have a success. And then there's an economic component to religion
Mm-hmm.
that is strategically left out when we go to church on Sunday. So we're not the beneficiaries of the true word of God. Back to having a lack of language, right? Because now if we don't have language, we don't really understand language, then how can I properly pray? Asking it shall be given. But if I say, hey, God, give me a Twizzlers, and I think the word Twizzlers means dollar,
Okay.
right? So the
Okay.
white man taught me that the dollar means, to say dollar, you got to say Twizzler. So I'm
Mm.
I'm praying for candy when I think I'm praying for money, right?
Got you.
So this is why when you look at the dictionary, you know, there's only maybe two or three words or definitions for this word. But you
Yeah.
ever see it in dictionary, some words have 15 different
Yeah.
meanings, right? So we've been strategically taught the least valuable definition of aspirational words. So when we go to our Father, when we go to God, we're not getting the maximum benefit for prayer because we don't truly understand the words that we're saying, or we don't know the words that we need to ask for, specifically the word provision,
Got you.
right? So that's important, right? And also understanding the power of I am, because everything that you add on to I am becomes added on to you. So that's
Mm.
very important. Just want to touch on these things real quick.
Yeah.
So these religious institutions have a responsibility to teach us business development, to teach us trades, to teach us sexual education, to teach us relationships, to teach us how to allocate capital, to teach us what's God's plan for our people, which is living expenses times four, times 12, times 100.
Hmm.
That's one generational wealth.
Yeah. I have a question though,
Mhm.
because I think that's a lot. That's a lot of responsibility to place on the church. I think, right? Because I think you can develop these things or learn these things in other places.
No, it's not. See, and again, this is
Hmm.
this is what I want you to understand, my dear sister.
Hmm.
How is that a huge? So that's like you telling God is too much.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
The religious sin is the catalyst between you and God,
Right.
right? So it's
Hmm.
not enough, right? It's not even nowhere near enough,
Got you. But
right?
what are
It
your
can
thoughts on developing those things in other places? What are your thoughts on that?
that becomes the problem, right?
Okay.
Because when we and again that episode that you spoke about that kind of
Mm-hmm.
like moved you to say, who's this guy, right? Well, I'm talking about scripture. We can't talk about God and then backpedal.
Got
We
you.
can't talk about the power of God and say, well, I can do all things through Christ, except all these things over here.
Got you.
Allah is the greatest, except when it comes on Tuesday, right? So when we understand that the religious institution is the foundation, is the bridge between man and God, and we're
Hmm.
getting that knowledge, we're getting that understanding, we're getting that taqwa, we're being taught faith, but faith without work is dead, right? So we have to, again, this works for every other culture but us, because the so-called religious leaders have been strategically placed there by the white man to keep us confused, to keep us in a slave mindset, right?
Hmm.
So um it's almost like we're being strategically disconnected from God. So where it's like, breaking a horse, right? Like when you break a horse, what do? It's the reversal. It's the reversal of the mind, and it is a, what is it? A relief pressure and like a pressure relief kind of a system,
Okay.
right? That's why they call it buck breaking. That's why they
Mhm.
call us studs. They call us stallions. See Megan the Stallion, and
Mhm.
you see all this cowboy memorabilia, right? Like what I'm saying is this is real. And
Mhm.
what they're doing is they're subconsciously talking directly to the slave that they created over 400 years ago on the plantation. When you
Mhm.
see or everybody with the cowboy hat and
Mhm.
all that, right? It's all about buck breaking and getting us to accept slavery because you know I'm looking for the relief from the pressure.
Yeah.
And the relief from the pressure is submission to the white man,
Got
right?
you.
And our expectations fuel the white man.
Mhm.
Our expectations, our fear is what fuels these other people. So we're looking for the president, we're looking for Congress, we're looking for everybody to help us except for God, right? And there's a fear that I don't have um, for white people that gives me the license, gives me the immunity, gives me the comfortability to speak the way I speak, also gives me the access to the knowledge that I have. Because everybody's like, man, well, how did you get this? How did you get so smart? I want to, well, I have a relationship with God,
Mhm.
and I understand that I'm created in God's image.
Mhm.
And I understand that I'm either God or a demigod. It's something godly and God in me. Genetically, everything about me is superior. So I'm able to have this access, and I understand the God complex that the white man has, which is um sorry, which is I'm trying to run through this, which is an inflated sense of superiority,
Mhm.
excessive confidence, dictated disguised as a hero, and feels insulted when ignored. The white man has a God complex. The black man is God. The black woman is a goddess, right? The white woman has a goddess complex. It's a they're
I'm here for this.
they're the they're the they're the lie and we're the truth. And what
Okay.
happens is when you speak in that vibration, you speak in that frequency, there's an actual fear that is created, right?
Mhm.
Created in our own people because we don't feel like we're valuable, and that is strategic, right? And when you look at the educational system, a child's learning curve is the shortest between the ages of zero to 7. So
Mhm.
why in first grade and those in the Board of Education's curriculum reflects the conspiracy you see to destroy little black boys,
Mhm.
because when the learning curve is the shortest, why does the curriculum not leverage and take advantage of that child's ability to learn?
Right.
You know that when you teach a child language like A, B, C, D, you're creating speech impediment,
Mm.
right? You're like you do know that that child should be learning like real shit, but you're not teaching them the highest curriculum until their learning curve is um elongated, right? Until their ability to learn is harder, right? A child can learn calculus, science, trades, everything in preschool, first grade. But what's being taught, and then in those crucial learning stages, you don't see any male representation from us, right? You see a white principal, white teacher, right? There's a bunch of females, white females. This is ages that window period, right?
Mhm.
um the power is everything, and then they conspire against that child and get the mother to believe that this child has ADHD, or this child should be in special education.
Mhm.
You should sign a pen's word for this child. This child should get Ritalin. This child should get medication. This child has autism. Like all these destructive diagnoses um get prescribed in that window period,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I definitely think that's a real thing. I
Yeah, and
think
we
that.
definitely need to do it. We definitely need to do a part two, because for episodes like this, I don't know. You could saying got like 8 minutes left, right? So like it's like an hour, right?
Oh, T, how we doing
No,
for?
you got more. You can go.
Okay, okay, cool. But I'm just saying because this is a
Yeah.
lot. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we this is important, right?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that, but what I think, like, I know every there's a lot of statistics and research around like
Yeah,
ADHD and children being kind of like misdiagnosed. A lot of that happens in the work that I do. That's a conversation that happens often, right? But I think that I don't know, as far as conspiring against the child, I don't know that that's always the case.
it's always the case.
But always?
It's always the case. Again, this is why I said when you become desensitized and you allow the white man to create, listen, when you become desensitized and you allow the white man to get you to believe, right, that his evil doesn't exist,
No,
right?
I
Listen,
yeah.
his evil doesn't exist, then this is the problem, right? So for me, again, I know who my enemy is,
Okay.
right?
So you
So
look at
I'm
white
not
people as the
a
enemy.
million percent. I
Okay.
know who my enemy is, and I'm not blinded by trinkets,
Got you.
right? You know, you want to understand what they did to us, start studying how they break horses,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is in the Willie Lynch letter. This is why they hit it. They hit us with whips, and they put the same harness on our face that you see on horses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I told you, it's a pressure um, relief system, right?
Got you.
Fuck your system. Give me the pressure because you're not strong enough to break me. You're not strong enough to enslave me, right? So I'm not blinded by the relief strategies. I'm not blinded by how you incentivize me to accept slavery. They've been a sworn enemy to us since we came here from Africa
For
on
sure.
slave ships.
Yeah.
It never changed.
Okay.
So when you think that you're integrationalist, you don't realize that integration is horizontal, but segregation is vertical. When you think you're emancipated, you don't realize that they just moved the plantation, right?
But
Um,
what about the idea that like emancipation and liberation being starting off as a mindset? What are your thoughts on that? Like
of course,
because I
that is the mindset, and that's what I spoke about, right?
Mhm.
That's what I spoke about early on, right? Having an African name,
Yeah.
having high self esteem,
Mhm.
holding white people accountable.
Yeah.
I'm not here to accept shit. We
Okay.
still this is and again this is when you have self hate, right? Like I had a whole conversation with a brother, not to put his business out there, but I had a conversation with a brother and he was in an interracial relationship, right? And I
Mhm.
said, it's not in a white woman's nature to love a black man. It's
Mm.
not in a white man's nature to love a black woman. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, and when we start to understand the nature of these people and the application of their nature to our existence in the past, in the present, then we make sure we avoid that shit in the future.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a nigger bitch and I'm a nigger to them. So there's no your stock, I'm stock to them. Your property, I'm property to them. And there's no, they're ruthless, they're vindictive, they're evil, they're sick, they're very disturbed people. And the reason why we don't elevate is because we keep accepting building our house in their backyard. We keep accepting the relief, right?
Mhm.
As the horse, we accept the relief when no, if you keep the pressure on, eventually the mind has a, a very obsessive need to heal. It's like this thing, right? Like you have this need to wake up. You
Mhm.
have a need to heal, right? Um, and this is why I think my message is growing because I don't give a fuck about the relief. You're not gonna never ride me. You're never gonna saddle me. You're never gonna pet me. You come near me, I'm raising up and I'm hitting you with the big horse kick, boom, breaking your jaw.
Got
You
you.
put a baby, you put a white baby in front of me. I'm picking the hoof up, boom, trampling the baby. You put the white granny in front of me. I'm
Trample
kicking the
the
granny out
baby
the
is
stroller,
crazy.
boom. You're never when I'm no, it's not crazy. What I'm saying is I'm never gonna accept slavery. There's no representative you can bring in my presence or my vicinity to advocate me to be broken, to accept it. I'm a God. I'm
Yeah.
proud to be a black man. I'm African. I know where I come from. And I love myself and I love my
True.
people and I love you, but I don't love white people. You see? And I understand when we look at the educational system, think about this. When Kids go to high school right now. This is in the ghetto. Look at the Board of Education. What is the curriculum? What trades are they teaching? They took trades out of schools,
Mm,
right? They took our ability to create jobs for ourselves in our community out of schools. Sex education is not taught in school. So you think you should be taught sex education after you have a baby or before you start having sex? In fucking puberty, 10 years old, you should be taught sex education,
yes.
right?
Well, what I think is the responsibility for sex education should be at home. That's my personal view. I think that people would be better off if they were learning it from home because I don't know that. That's what I'm saying. A lot of
But you
times,
can't learn it from home if God is not the foundation in the home. You see?
okay.
So, and the reality is, the hard reality is, who raises the child? The mother or the teacher? Let me answer that for you. The teacher is raising the children.
In
The
some in
school,
some cases, but not always. Always. Sometimes
we talking about the we talk
parents' job is to raise
sis,
their children.
sis. You can't be naive about this. There's more educational systems raising the child than the mother. First of all, in our culture, single parent homes, I don't want to mention a statistic. Let's just say it's a lot of single black women with children.
Hmm. For sure.
Okay? Right.
For sure.
So if no dad is in the home, who's paying the bills?
The mother
Right. And when the mother's working her ass off to pay the bills, where's the child?
at school.
Right. So
Hmm.
who's raising the child? Think about it. The child spends more time in school, on the phone, technology, the white man is raising your child. So you think that white man is raising your child to be a god, to be a goddess, to be a nation builder? No, he's raising your child to be a criminal, a prostitute, dead, or a fucking employee, bare minimum, right? So when you understand this, then you understand why there's a conspiracy. And if the child gets up, think about it. A child gets up, has to go to school. Say the kid has to be at school. What time? 8 o'clock. He's leaving the house at 7:30.
Hmm.
You're not even seeing the child before you go to work. If you do, you sleep, right? Because you about to be working at 9, so you barely, you sleep, you overworked, right? That child's getting up. You're not feeding them the proper nutrition or feeding her the proper nutrition. So what they doing? They probably going to a corner store to get a bullshit sandwich, which is high on carbs and high on sodium, or they eating Pop Tarts in the morning, or eating a bowl of cereal, which is gonna be a bunch of sugar. They're already young, they got energy, so they're gonna go to school hype, and then somewhere in the midday, right? They're gonna have a downer. So now,
Sure.
now I'm being diagnosed with ADHD when it's just really a fucked up diet, right? So and then they're at school from 8 to what, 3 or 4, right? You still at work. When they get out at 3 or 4, are they coming straight home? No, they're hanging out with their friends, right?
Hmm.
Blind leading the blind, right? There's no recreational centers. There's no religious center they can go to that has a preteen or a teen program, right? And now by the time they get home maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock, right? What's the first thing they do? Go in their fucking room. Then you're not spending an intentional 3 to 4 hours with that child. Now, guess what's happening? Now, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock comes. You hungry, baby? Yes, mama. Yes, mama. I'm hungry. So now you're feeding the kid, and then now you basically just spent in one day 45 minutes interacting with your child.
Hmm. But that's
So
where
how
the.
can you say, hold on? So
Hmm.
how can we say the school is raising the children? So this is why I said there's a conspiracy that the Board of Education has to destroy little black boys, because when you see the average black kid in the ghetto, what is the school teaching them? Teaching them to be nothing. But yeah, I'm listening.
Ooh, that was a lot. I'm taking it in. Give me a second.
No doubt. So
I think that I get your point. I think that is a perspective that is valid. I get that.
it's not a perspective, it's a reality.
But I think that's a reality that's true. But
It's a reality.
I don't know that that's always like I don't want that to just be the blanket narrative for all
It definitely is the blanket narrative.
urban city children
We are,
because
listen,
I don't I'm speaking personally.
that's the problem. The white man wants me and you to separate our issues. When
No,
that black
that's not
woman
what
got shot, listen, when that black woman got shot in the face by the police, that was a attack against every black woman on this planet. When you see one little see,
which black woman when did this happen? Recently? I don't think I know about that. Do you know about that?
wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
I'm
well, you gotta Google it. I mean, lady, she got the police officer said, "I'm gonna shoot you in your fucking face," and she had a bottle, she had a water,
what
and he shot her in the face.
in New York City? Where was this?
What?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, some cops came onto the scene of this crime, and it's not even a crime. So it was just a call, and she
Mm,
made the call,
mm.
and then they ended up
Sonia
shooting
Massey.
her though.
Absolutely, I know what we're
But
talking
she was
about.
nonviolent,
Yes,
so
So,
absolutely, I know about
so,
that. That was frightening.
so, so
Just
the
wit to
so,
see.
so the thing about it is this. This is the slave mentality. If you don't feel like, do you have a sister? Do
No.
you have a mother?
Yeah.
You have an aunt?
Yeah.
If that was your aunt or a woman in your family who you cared about, you would feel differently.
No. I
Listen, you would feel differently. So what I'm saying is this: they desensitize us. That's the breaking of a slave to where it's like, oh, it's just no. The general blanket
general blanket
issue
saying
with us is we are fucked up in America. And there's been a
gotcha.
psychological, and I'm trying to keep it on point for your show because you talk about like psychology and shit in the
Yeah,
mind, right?
we're gonna get into we're gonna switch gears in a second
Right,
for
for sure.
sure.
So we have to understand that we are under attack mentally, psychologically, economically, emotionally, physically, and that's what it is. And you can't heal until you understand how you're being lacerated, right? You can't heal. Don't take an axe and hit me on the knee, right? And slide it to the left a little bit, right? And expect me to heal. You're just cutting me deeper. In order for me to heal, first of all, you have to take the axe out.
Right.
I have to get medical attention, stitching, whatever, and
Mm.
then I need to heal. So they're teaching us to think that healing is the lesser two evils, or you can hurt me less, or you shot my sister over there and we protested, so it wasn't that bad. No, when
Oh.
one black woman is harmed, when one black man is harmed, when one little black boy is harmed, that is a attack against every single black boy and person on this planet, also United States of America.
For
And when
sure.
we start to
I
understand
agree
that
with that.
this is a human issue, this is a
Yes.
human rights issue. It's not a civil right, it's a human's right issue. And we are under an attack. We are under terrorist attacks. And when we start to understand this and we start to let that shit materialize in our subconscious minds, then you'll have more men and women talking like the smart guy than Reverend Jackson. Yeah, but yeah,
Got you. No, thank you for that. Thank you for
yeah,
sharing that. My earring coming out. Yeah, you speaking, my earring falling out.
not
You
all
know what? I appreciate your thought. I appreciate your thought. I think that you were very powerful in your speech and you make valid points. You get what I'm saying?
right.
I do think this is a message that we need to hear, and you probably are the best person to deliver
For
it.
sure. And
Um,
and and let me just add this last thing to that before before you switch gears.
yeah.
See, nature is God, right?
Mm,
So they're strategic in disconnecting us from God. Once we connect back with God, then we're not going to have all the issues that we have. Also, we understand to take care of ourselves. And understanding that our expectations are fuel for the white man,
mm,
our fear is fuel for the white man. So
okay.
we expect the government to do for us, and we prioritize what the government can do, and we make what God can do secondary or not even on our list. Then we're not going to ever be free from this tyranny. We're not going to
Yeah.
ever be free from this Holocaust. We have to go directly to God, and we have to rewrite the Bible. We have to rewrite the Quran. You got the King James version of the Bible.
Mm.
You about to see the smart version of the Bible.
But what
Okay,
about the idea that God created all of these things on earth? That like the government, like the things that we have to
God
help.
didn't create the government,
Okay. All right.
and God and God
It's just a thought. I'm wondering
and
like
God
at
God
what
and
point
God
do we
and
do
God and God supersedes the government.
Oh,
So
for
again,
sure. But what
when
I'm
we
saying is
when you
the
you can't
things
have
that
an inferiority, you can't understand what I'm saying if you're listening from an inferiority complex ear, right? So if you believe you're superior, then you're gonna listen different. And this is not to you. I
Okay.
don't personalize it. I'm talking real. If you believe that you're superior, then you're look. Why is the white man so bold? Why is the white man so bold? Why is the white man so bold to shoot this black woman in the face? Why is the white man so bold to say, I'm going to run you over with a car and laugh? Why is the white man so bold to say, I'm going to hang you from a tree? I'm going to enslave you. Why is the white man so bold? And why has God rewarded that white man's boldness? Why has the universe rewarded that white man's boldness? Here comes the answer. God complex. See, he believes that he's superior. You're my property, you nigga bitch. You're my property, you nigga. I own you. I own you. I own you. This is his fucking mindset. And he's bold. So I'm sitting there, you don't own nothing. I'm a God. And if every man has the right to remove any and every obstruction by any means necessary, by any resource they have available to them, I have the God-given human right to remove anything that's in my way. And if that's the white man, if that's the government, if that's the police, bring them all.
Mhm.
Bring them all. Because bring them all. And I'm going to tell you, hold on, let me say this, right? This is important, right?
Okay. I'm listening.
Bring them all.
Okay.
Because I live with my father. See, when you forget who your father is, then you will be harmed. Man, when you forget who your father is, right? I don't fight this war with weapons built by man. I fight this war with weapons built by my father. I don't fight this war with guns, right? I fight this war with neuromelanin. I fight this when we talk about neo teleportation and making shit, right? When we understand the Haitian Revolution, why were the Haitians successful in keeping Haiti independent and destroying the French? And they like, we seeing black men fly through the sky and shape shifting. We talk about the power of voodoo. We talk about the power of our true power, right? And how were the Haitians able? Because they didn't accept. They had the boldness, right? That the white man thought he had. But when the lie is at adversity with the truth will prevail. So when you have this white man that is bold, and then you have this Haitian that is bold, and you have this Haitian.
That was terrible. I'm Haitian. So
listen,
cut
so
it
you
out.
understand what I'm
Cut
saying?
it out.
I'm not being funny. I'm just saying, I'm trying to make a point.
I
And you
know.
have this Haitian,
I
so
know.
then you say it, then how does it go?
Sac passe.
Right.
Mapule.
Right. So when you have this Haitian, and I'm not saying it to discredit my Haitian
No,
brother
for
or
sure,
be
for sure.
funny, I said it the way I can say it. Saba say I
I
said
know
it
it was
wrong,
just
right?
it was funny.
But what I mean by it is like you have this bold Haitian in front of this bold white man.
Mhm.
Who is the truth? The truth is the bold Haitian. Who is the lie? The lie is the bold white man. So when they're at war and they clash, the Haitian won because he is the truth and the white man was the lie.
Mhm.
I am God. You have the God complex. I am superior. You just think you're superior. When in actuality, in reality, you're inferior. So when I don't accept the relief, bring the pressure. Bring the pressure.
Mhm.
When I don't run from the whip, swing the whip.
Mhm.
I'm going to catch the whip, snatch it so hard out your hand, I'm going to dislocate your shoulder. I'm going to wrap it around your neck. I'm going to string you up, and we're going to set you on fire, and we're going to have marshmallows under the feet of crispy white men like Krispy Kreme donuts, okay? So this is the mind. What I'm saying is this is the mindset
Yeah,
that leads to freedom.
for sure.
And then I love the Haitian Revolution, right?
Absolutely.
Because I'm in search for black people that fight back,
Yeah.
right?
But the thing is, it's
Yeah.
like sometimes I feel like have you found any black people that fight back? Because I feel like you gotta be you're so strong in your views that I wonder
Of
like
course.
how because
Malcolm X,
people
Callum
can be,
Muhammad,
but I'm saying people in that you can
George Jackson,
rub shoulders
Huey
with.
P. Newton.
People right now today because I feel like black people can be on the same side and be fighting the same fight but not do it just like you. I feel like you got to be open to like a different
You got to have
way
education
of
first.
doing it.
No, you got to have education.
So who are the black people that you have as like people that are on the same timing as you are?
That got to remain confidential.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just checking in because
Yeah.
I feel like it's good to have a unit, not just be doing this fight or feeling like you're in this fight alone because
not alone.
there are people that feel just the same way you do but approach it differently.
I'm not alone.
Good.
You can't feel the way I feel and approach it differently.
Absolutely you can.
No, you can't.
Yes.
You can't.
Yes.
You can't.
Like how can you not?
You can't.
How can you not?
Because you can't embrace homosexuality. You can't embrace drug usage. You can't embrace violence,
Mhm.
right, against your brother, right? You can't embrace integration, right? It's all ownership, right? So you can't think how I think and do anything differently.
Okay.
If you feel like, again, we talk about the boldness.
Mm-hmm. But
I want the war. Listen, I want war. I don't like, listen, I want war.
mm,
Like, that's it. We at war. So I'm not gonna sit here and I don't know, right? I know I don't have no fear for no white man. I have no fear for no government. I have no fear for no police.
okay.
I don't fear none of that shit. And I never will. I know who my father is, and I know I'm protected by my father. I know I'm empowered by my father.
Mm,
And I embrace the day when my father calls on me for battle.
mm,
I'm ready, and I will be ready, and I will be prepared, and I will be in preparation until I'm called by my father. So again, I don't know who feels this way. I don't care. I know my father will inform me who to work with. Like, I will know,
yeah.
right? I will know, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
intuition. God gives us intuition. God gives us discernment,
For
right?
sure.
So you can't. There's only one way, and that's independent. It's one way. We have to kick the whites out of Africa. Everybody that's not African needs to be immediately removed out of Africa. We have to create our own our own language, right? We have to have we all the resources and everything comes from Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need anybody. They need us. And again, when we start to realize that and say, well, I don't care about the pressure, bring it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't, you can't, and you can't scare me with death.
Right.
You don't have the power to kill me.
For sure.
But that that's what it really is. You fear death, right? You fear death. I fear living, I fear living under the conditions that this white man is trying to put me in.
Mm,
You fear death. I fear not reaching my full potential. I fear not being in alignment with my father,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So scripture showed you this. David and Goliath. Scripture showed you this. The Quran showed you this,
Right.
right? So do you fear man? Because if you feared your father, you would do what your father said. And if this man said, "I am your father," you ain't my motherfucking daddy, cracker. You ain't my daddy, recessive. You ain't my daddy, inferior. You're not my daddy. Fuck is you talking about? I know who my father is. And in fact, I'm your daddy. You're my son. So when we understand this, we're going to speak it differently. We're going to have a different level of confidence, shoulders back, head up, right? So this is why it's important to have these conversations.
Yeah.
It's important for us to have institutions. It's important for us to understand our culture, our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
No, thank
For
you.
sure.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you for sharing what you did. I guess I'll switch gears a little bit just to get more into like a mental health
For sure.
um space, but I feel like the conversation that we had starting off with, we can continue, right? Like this is a never-ending conversation. But I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on therapy?
And
Like
what I mean,
like people going to therapy, working on their mental health.
a lot of times, look, I see a lot of times with us, it's the white man's, right? A
What's
lot of
the white
time it's the
man?
white man. It
What's the
ain't
white man?
the white man attacking us. So we think,
Oh, the white man is attacking us through what? Therapy?
no, through social media, through content, through movies, through films, right?
Mm,
Through food, through everything, right? So again, if every morning you left your house, right?
mm,
And I got a drone, and the drone has 10,000 gallons of water in it, and everywhere you go, it's raining on you, right? It's raining. You like, man, shit, fuck, I gotta get an umbrella. Do you need to get an umbrella? Or do you need to remove this fucking drone that's releasing water on your skull every morning? What do you need to do? Want me to answer it for you? You need to remove the fucking drone,
mm.
right? And then you need to figure out, okay, who's building the drone?
Okay.
Who's controlling the drone? Oh, it's this little white man over here. A lot of our issues are externally inflicted, and they're so clandestine in the infliction that we take that infliction and internalize it and think that it's really our issue. So even when we try to get therapy and we try to get healing, we never do because we're not addressing the actual root of the problem. Right?
Mm.
We're not addressing the root, the deep root of the problem. And so we never get any real peace or solution because okay, let me get it. Oh man, let me get an umbrella. So now you get an umbrella. White man see you get an umbrella, he get more water. So you're like, all right, let me get an umbrella, let me get rain boots. Then you buy rain boots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And white man like, okay, let me get two drones. Now you get a rain jacket, rain boots, a bigger umbrella. White man like, okay, he gonna get 20 drones and make a tsunami. And now you're like, okay, man, oh shit, let me get a boat. Then you get a boat, and then the white man is like, okay, we're gonna ignite C4 in this river, right?
So everything is going back to the white man.
1,000,000%.
I just feel like we're giving them too much credit.
What do you
Like
mean?
some
You have to
people,
give them 100. No, no.
some
You get
people.
credit for oppression.
But
What I'm saying
yes,
is
yes,
you
absolutely.
cannot see, I don't live under the self-hate doctrine that the white man conditions us to believe. I know every problem the black man and black woman has in America is because of the white man. He takes full credit for that. Now, in order for us to free ourselves from his mental prison, we have to understand that he is the warden. He is the genesis of this. And then when you separate, this is why you're going to be separate, right? Because I need to separate from you. Because no matter how many umbrellas you buy, it's never going to stop raining until you address the shit that's making it rain. And it's not natural, it's not God,
Right.
right? It's man-made weather. So now when you start to understand, like, well, okay, let me finish this, right?
Go ahead.
So you get the umbrella, you buy the umbrella. White man says another drone. You get the rain boots. You get the rain jacket. White man like, damn, okay, you think you're slick. Now he goes and gets this big helicopter and he drops 10,000 oceans on you. So you're like, oh man, I gotta get a boat. And you get a boat, right? You get a boat, right? And then a white man gets a submarine and shoots a missile at your boat and puts a hole in your boat, right? And then now you like, let me fix this. You get a bigger boat. White man, you get a boat 10 times the size of the Titanic. White man puts an artificial iceberg in the water, and your boat hit the iceberg, and you die and you drown and you dead. And you go and you go to heaven. You go, God, I got an umbrella. God, I got rain boots. God, I built a boat. God, I did everything. You did everything but address the enemy. You did everything but address the enemy. You did everything but address the enemy. You kept turning the other cheek. It's the reason why you ain't supposed to turn the cheek. You kept turning the cheek and looking away and looking away. You gave the enemy your fear. You feared man and you did not fear me, my child. So this is why you met your death.
Okay.
So
Understood.
I don't believe in therapy without blaming the white man. I don't believe in therapy without holding a white man accountable. I don't believe in therapy without pointing the finger at the white man. I don't believe in therapy without understanding that we are still living on the plantation. I don't believe in therapy without the knowledge or being privy that we're the only group of oppressed people still living in the land of our Holocaust, expecting the people that put us in the Holocaust to take us out of the Holocaust. So no, therapy will mean shit if we don't really understand the conditions, the external conditions, the societal acceptance of slavery that we still live in and we still accept to this very day.
Okay.
Yeah. Blame the white man.
Okay, y'all blame the white
You
man.
ever seen that movie South Park? Blame Canada. Blame Canada. Blame the white man. Blame the white man. That's what I do.
Okay. So have you ever gone to therapy?
Of course.
How was that for you?
Shit was horrible. I actually had the best black therapist on the planet. Couldn't do nothing for me. He was emasculated. I think might be in the closet, might be a homosexual. I don't know. I actually had one of the greatest black therapists. Listen, seriously,
Okay.
on paper.
Yeah.
This guy with glasses. Like he's like I forgot his name.
Oh, he's like a well-known
He's
therapist.
well-known black therapist. Did
Okay.
nothing for me. Okay,
Mm.
and
Why do you think that was the case?
because you have to have knowledge of self. You have to understand the root of the problem. You keep trying to hold me accountable for rain. You keep trying to hold me accountable
The
for
therapy is about the client. It's about you. So it's not about him. That's why I'm wondering like why didn't it work? Why do you think it did not work for you?
because you
You
can't.
can't blame him for that. I think he showed up maybe trying to just do his job, but
What do you
like,
mean? If I'm a child
oh,
and
this
I'm
was
going
you
to
went to
therapy, if I'm a child
child
and I'm
therapy.
going to therapy, it's not. If I'm unaware and I'm going to therapy,
For sure.
you what are you talking? So what do you mean? It's not. That's the point of going to therapy,
Yeah, how
right?
old were you at that time?
The first time, I was less under 10.
Okay, so that's a understood. I think the context,
Even as an adult, it's no difference.
because I
If you
mean, if
don't know, listen. If you don't know, if you sit here and think, right?
mhm.
Matter of fact, go ahead. I got you. Go ahead. Yeah, finish it. Go ahead.
What I thought was that you went as an adult. So I'm thinking,
Okay, I go
what
as an adult. What happens?
when you go as an adult, I think there's some responsibility on you as going into therapy. What's your goal in going to therapy? What do you want to accomplish? Do you want to work through
So if
trauma?
the
Do you want
trauma
to?
I went through inhibited me from developing a skill to have an expectation for therapy, then what do I do?
Then that's fine. I think just even saying that, saying like, I'm here, but I don't really know why I'm here or I need help, right? Being able to say that first, then I
So
think
how can you help me if you don't know what's hurting me?
we start talking. We just start talking. And as we're talking, I'm getting to know you. I'm getting to know you. And that
That's why therapy is bullshit. Because I already
Wh-
know if I'm a therapist, I already know as a black woman what you deal with. I already know. I don't have to know you to know you. That's one. Number two, I need to know the core principles, right? It's a value system. I need to make sure that's installed in you of rip. And we talking about self-esteem, confidence. What is your self-image of yourself?
okay.
Right? What is that image you see of yourself subconsciously?
Hmm.
There's things that I need to address that I'm already coming into it prepared. And at the
But you
end,
said for someone who doesn't know. So
no, I'm talking
somebody
about the
just,
therapist has to know. And
oh,
if someone
the
comes in,
therapist
it
knows.
right, listen, no
Yeah.
disrespect. Most time I go on podcasts, we in the time, and people got lights and cameras and shit,
Mm,
and they got no direction.
okay.
So I'm not gonna sit here. I'm gonna direct the conversation
Okay.
to make sure my information is distributed, right?
Got you.
So because I know what needs to be said and what needs to be right
Got
addressed,
you.
right?
So you think this you came into this conversation and I had no direction? Is that what you're saying? I'm asking
No,
you.
what I'm saying is
Because I have direction.
if
I
you have direction, but
I
I
have
also
I
have
have things prepared.
I get you. You have direction, and I also have direction.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, a therapist, typically for us, doesn't have a sense of self or knowledge of self as the inspiration for that direction. So you need to have a sense of self. You need to know who you are
A
when you're
therapist does
talking.
have that.
No, they don't.
Yes, because
If
there's
you if
it's
you ask, listen. If you ask, you got to hear what I'm saying, right?
I hear you.
And there's a term, "let me cook." Okay,
But I can't let you just say things that aren't true though. You get what I'm saying? I
that's why I
can't.
said let me cook. So you mean to tell me a black therapist is coming into it knowing that if it's a male black therapist, most male therapists, the top ones who are black are homosexuals or emasculated.
Really?
How can you be a therapist and be a homosexual? That's one. You can't. Number two, number two,
So the top therapists are homosexual? Most of them?
sis, you might have to do some due diligence. So what I'm let me just
But how do you know
for
this
sake of
though?
time, listen, for sake of time,
Okay.
just do your due diligence. Now, most therapists, what are they taught? Right? Are they taught
Ye-
Kemet? They're taught Locke and Freud. They're taught that if you go to school for psychology in the United States of America, what is the introductory for psychology? John Locke. It's not a
Yeah.
fact.
But there's other.
Listen what I'm saying.
Hmm.
This not what you talking about. We're talking about the process that you have to go through to get a degree. The information that they use to educate you, to qualify you to get a certification for to become a therapist or a psychologist
Hmm.
has nothing to do with African, Egyptian, Kemet, or that culture. Just the inspiration that our people taught the Greeks. See, we taught the Greeks, but they're documented as the fathers of psychology. They're
Hmm.
not. They're the students.
Hmm.
To us, we're the fathers of psychology. So if you're not taught that as a therapist, which you're not, then automatically when you have a client who looks like me or looks like you're giving them information from a Greek foundation.
Hmm.
So that's, I mean, if we're gonna get clinical, right? And I don't want to go too deep, right? I don't speak nothing. I don't speak out my ass now. So what I mean by that specifically is a therapist is not going into a black therapist is having a black client is not going into it typically because there's few, right? No disrespect to the brothers our brothers and sisters out there who understand what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
It's a small group, but I want to make that the majority to where they understand who you are, who they are, and how systemic racism plays a part
Mhm.
in the therapeutic process,
Oh, for sure, but I
right?
didn't deny that though.
I never said you did.
Yeah, psychology is a
Or
westernized
so
practice,
you cannot
but it has
you can't
evolved. Like you got to understand evolution. I feel like
sis
you
sis
you're you're you making it
you
seem like
cannot you cannot you cannot you cannot deny that fact.
I'm not
Which so what you're
denying it.
saying is I'm speaking on things and you can't let me speak on things that's not a fact. It is a fact
What I'm saying is
that the majority of black therapists are not going into their sessions teaching their clients that they're gods and goddesses. They
okay.
would probably say it's narcissistic or whatever, right? They're not going
Not
into they're
necessarily.
not going into their clinical approach with an African foundation. They're going into it with a Greek or
Yeah.
westernized approach.
Because that's not every therapist's goal. Some therapists want to just teach, like, because there's different modalities, right, of therapy. There's different types. Some therapists just want to help you heal, help you work through your trauma.
You can't
It's
help
not
me
necessarily
heal. You can't help me heal when you're not addressing the drone in the
okay.
sky.
So it goes.
That's
It always goes back to that for you.
see when you say this, right?
Not saying it in no way.
It always goes back to that for us.
Yes, I get that.
So
I'm not
you
saying
cannot, you cannot separate that. And what
okay.
happens is we get people get mad at me, or I have heated conversations because I don't move from that.
Got
And
you.
I don't move from that
You don't
because
have to. I
I won't.
respect
What
it.
I'm saying is it's like the reason why I won't move from that because that's the truth of it.
Got you.
So if you go to school to be a therapist, what are you taught? Who are you? Who's highlighted? Like we, who's highlighted in your education process? Nobody black.
Hmm.
So how can you become a therapist if you don't have no influence from your people? If you're a black therapist,
Of course. But the thing is each therapist, all therapists are not the same. So yes, the teachings may be the same, but how you show up in
so
in
what
this
you have to
space
understand,
is
no,
different.
listen, what we have to address, what we're talking about is macro and micro.
Okay,
Okay? I don't give a fuck about the micro. I'm addressing the macro. If you got a
got you.
boxing school and you're teaching a fighter wrong, I'm addressing the foundation that you're teaching, right?
Hmm.
The institution. The problem is it's the institutional issues. And
Yeah.
we don't own enough institutions.
Mm.
And the institutions that we do own typically are small, or we don't we're not we're not teaching the true information,
Mhm.
true knowledge yourself.
Yeah. And
Okay?
that's what I think. I think addressing it from a macro level
Yeah.
is powerful and necessary. But I think the micro addressing things from a micro can lead
How
to
has therapy helped us in America? Again, listen what I'm saying. And this is not an attack at you because I want you to understand what I'm saying.
got you.
This is the lack of knowledge that you may possess and most of us do. How long was the Jewish Holocaust over? The Holocaust ended in around 1947.
Hmm.
You think they therapy is working? Hell yeah. Do you think they religious centers is working? Hell yeah. Do you think the government is working for them? Hell yeah. But why? So this is the reality of it. We're not healing.
So
We're
do you
not
know any
healing.
black people who are healed and who have gone to therapy and are doing great? Because there are a lot of people out here who have positive.
Me,
Yes, T, one
I
of
go to
them.
therapy every Saturday.
Period. There's a lot. That's what I'm saying. Looking at it from a different angle.
What I'm saying is I'm not looking at it from no angle, different angle, nothing. I'm looking at it like this. We have to
Mhm.
build a nation. You might just be living in a nation. I'm building a nation. So you might just live in a nation that I build. I'm building a nation. So the person who's going to build a
So I'm
nation,
not building.
the person that's building a nation
So
versus the person that's going to live in a nation has different
I
responsibilities.
build and help people every single day. So you
You're
got
not
to understand, like
you're not.
that's your
I'm talking
perspective.
about building an
But that's
institution and
yeah.
making it a standard to teach Egyptology, Kemet, teach the whatever the
Yeah.
original
And I
teachings
teach
was,
healing.
and make that
We
the
can be teaching
foundation.
two different things and still build. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You look at it from a way of like the way you approach things is the right and only way. And
You
I feel
making
like
it no,
be a little
but you
bit open
we
to
come
like,
from no. That's the problem.
yeah, we
You
come from
can't
two different,
follow the white man's. You see, this is what people talk about.
but nobody's
It's a
following the
false sense
white
of
man anything.
you are. We're
How?
speaking this language right now.
We-
That bothers me. Listen, See, you don't get it. You don't
I
get it.
I mean, listen, I've been following you this whole
You
time,
don't
but
get it.
we
It
can have
bothers me
we
the
can
fact that I'm
disagree.
speaking his language. Listen what I'm trying to
I
tell
got
you.
you.
We're speaking his language. There's right then and there is nothing past that for me. There's nothing you can tell me. We're speaking his language. I got a problem with that. So
Okay.
now I have to search and figure out. When a Chinese man, when I came here, you was late, by the way, too. But when I came here and we got here early, and
My apologies.
she was early too. I saw her. She got here about 8:50. I was downstairs. I figured you wasn't here, but she got here
I
early.
saw you when you was outside.
You didn't see me.
I was looking for parking.
You didn't see me when I was outside.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
I was
You see
looking
my car.
No, I saw you standing outside.
She was here first. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know that.
So we got upstairs. Hold on. We got upstairs.
Why are you trying to air that out on camera?
Yeah.
We could have talked about that behind the scenes.
Nah, you gotta be
Yes,
on
I
time.
was late because I was looking for parking. I'm
All right.
sorry.
I got you. This is just, But listen, so what I'm saying is the Chinese guy that came in here and asked her, yo, hey, do you need the heat, right? I'm pretty sure he speaks Chinese. So that bothers me that somebody stole my language.
Mm.
So it's nothing you're teaching. You gotta see it's not an easy conversation to have, right?
Yeah.
You cannot build your house in another man's backyard. You cannot.
But
So
we're
listen,
living
you
in
cannot build.
So what are your thoughts on the fact that we are living in America, but we're
can't.
trying to still build a life that we
You got people that live in America that speak Chinese. You got people that live in America that speak Indian, that speak Russian.
Yeah.
We the only people. We don't have our own language.
But that's because they come from
No, listen, this is a bigger play. What I'm trying to tell you is this: even with Africa, they
Mhm.
speak dialects.
Yeah.
There's no real language.
Got
Where's
you.
our language? You talking dialect? No, language. You
Mhm.
Haitian, right?
Yeah.
You don't speak Haitian. What you speak?
Creole.
What is that's not a language.
Haitian Creole is a language.
It's not a language.
So what is it?
What do you think it is?
It's not. I don't
You got some more research to do. So what I'm saying is
No, tell me, because
No, I
from what I
wanna tell
know of
you. I want
Haitian
you- I
Haitian
want you-
Creole is a language.
I want you to do your
in that
research.
country.
It's a difference between a language and a dialect.
Well, some Haitian people speak French.
How
If
you
that's
s-
what you're saying.
How you say cat in Creole?
I don't know because I'm not fluent. I'm not fluent. I was born here, so. But I know how to say certain things.
What you say in Creole?
Manger. Manger means eat.
Listen, it's a difference between a language and a dialect. When
That's
you
not a
understand-
dialect though.
It's a difference between a language.
Haitian Creole is a language.
It's a difference between a language and a dialect.
I
okay?
understand the dialect part.
You don't listen. I want you. I'm trying
I'm
to
also
say
half
this.
Jamaican. The dialect would
You
be
had-
patois for sure.
Sis, you have
It's
to
English.
understand. It's a difference between a language and a dialect. And again,
I get that part.
if you no, you don't. But it's
Because
okay.
you don't gotta keep saying it. I get it.
It's
Well,
okay.
listen,
It's okay.
I get your message. I get it. I get
No,
it.
you don't.
But I feel like you gotta be open to hearing other.
If you get my message, then you can't say I'm gonna be open because you know I'm not gonna be open. We don't have a language.
All right.
You gotta understand the difference between a language and a dialect. Remove everything French from Haiti. What do you get in terms of language? Remove everything French out of it. Just snatch that right out.
Mhm.
Right? We have to have a language. We need a language. Okay? And we don't even know our original language.
Haitians don't
So-
speak English though.
We don't have a language.
Haitians don't speak English.
Not saying they do.
Mhm.
You have to understand racism runs deep.
For sure.
So again, this conversation is not for everybody because they're not gonna understand. For me, God is, I don't know. I gotta be careful because I'm feeling different. I'm feeling like
what you feeling like?
a fucking messiah. I'm feeling different. So no, I'm not joking. I'm being serious. Cause I get premonitions and things be happening to me, be like weird. And I'll be like, fuck, okay.
Mm.
So I'm trying to, receive what my father is bringing to me.
I got you.
And the problem is you can't speaking the language of your oppressor is still oppression.
Absolutely. I understand that.
Having the name of your oppressor is still oppression. Going into a therapy session with a science that is created or has the foundation of your oppressor is still oppression.
Got you.
Okay? So this is what the problem is. And I don't have a fear of how long the marathon is
Mhm.
because I have a relationship with my father. I don't have a fear of how high the mountain I have to climb is because I have a relationship with my father. I don't have a discomfort with how anal
Mhm.
pause I have to be in this process. We speak the language of our colonizer. How you going to therapy speaking the language of somebody else? You go see a Chinese person go to therapy. Right? You go, you go see a Russian. No, like they speaking their language, so they getting their real healing because they speaking on a frequency.
Mhm.
We go speaking on a white man. Hey, I'm hurting. Hey, cause you said you go to therapy, right?
Yes, every week.
What's
Gotta go.
one thing? Cause
Therapist is black too.
I know it's confidentiality, right? But what's something
I don't care.
I like that because I don't care. But what's one thing you can share publicly
Mhm.
that you guys have talked about and you have healed from? Something. Give me a small laceration.
Ugh. Well, we talk a lot about being a black woman in the workplace and in the world. It's really tough. It's really utopian. I mean, dystopian. But something that I come from a really abusive household, like
Right.
very abusive. Everybody's abusive around me.
Hold on. So,
So
what does the therapist tell you about being a black woman? Did she ever mention that you're a goddess?
that's not something that she's mentioned now.
Does
But
she,
she
hold on.
go ahead.
I'm listening. I didn't say anything.
Has she ever mentioned that you're a supreme being?
No.
Have she,
She's mentioned I'm extremely capable.
has
though,
she ever
which is-
mentioned? No. I'm being specific for a reason.
Okay.
Has she ever mentioned that you're a supreme being?
No, that is not in there.
Has she ever mentioned that you're a goddess?
No.
Has she ever mentioned that you're the mother of civilization?
She has not.
That's why I don't fuck with therapy.
Okay.
Now listen.
But what about the impact that it has had on my life?
I got you. Watch
specifically?
this. Watch
Like
this.
I
got you.
Wait, listen. Let me finish real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I have PTSD. That's like one of the many things or whatever from this abusive, from living in the hood,
No, you
poverty,
don't.
all that.
No, you don't.
Well, now
No, you don't.
I'm
Watch this.
living in a space where I've been able to get through
you
it.
have repetitive thought. Now check
Okay.
this out.
Go
Check this
ahead.
out. Check this out. Oh, because I'm hip.
Go off.
You have repetitive thought. Now, my mantra, you know what my mantra is?
Mhm.
How you think creates how you feel. How you feel becomes an emotion. That emotion becomes a vibration. Vibration becomes a magnet that attracts things to you, but also repels things away from you.
Mm.
Now, I don't want to go too deep because I actually really like this sister, right? So I want to have a conversation like this with her off camera because it could be triggering, right?
Mm.
But I will say this. There's things that, my dear sister,
Listening.
what's the best way of saying this? You ever had a splinter?
Yeah.
Can you function with the splinter in your finger?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the size of the splinter, right?
Mm-hmm. It's gonna hurt, but you could.
So if I give you something to numb the splinter, I can function.
Mhm.
The form of therapy you're talking about is you're numbing it.
No.
The form,
Absolutely not.
listen what I'm saying.
I can't let you.
It's a
feel
numbing. It's a
this.
numbing because you
I
don't listen what I got.
can't.
No,
Absolutely
I need
not.
you. I need you.
I'm
this is-
hearing you, but
I need you to understand this, right? Because this is my opinion. You can agree to disagree.
yeah,
But the
for
form
sure.
of therapy that you're talking about is numbing the splinter.
But you don't
And
even know what
to
form of
the
therapy
point,
I'm talking about, though.
listen, it's numbing. The form of therapy I'm talking about is removing the splinter out of the hand,
That's the therapy I'm talking
and
about.
then tracking down the tree that the splinter came from and setting it on fire. So it's a different approach. So
Got
what I'm
you.
saying is you're not gonna hear those things. I asked the questions that I knew the answer to because I studied their approach to psychology,
Yeah.
right? And I understand the solutions that they give to our trauma is still from the brain trust of our oppressor. So there's going to be there's a limitation to the healing that takes place.
Mhm.
And I shouldn't need a continuation of therapy, right? I shouldn't need a continuation of therapy. This is the
Says who?
I shouldn't need a continuation of therapy because this is the limiting power in the westernized form of
Got
therapy.
you.
Healing is healed.
No, absolutely not.
You're saying this.
Healing.
Take
is,
it, listen. If I
healing-
cut you, have you been cut before?
Yes, my cat scratched me all the time.
So when you heal, what does that mean? Do you keep putting a band-aid on? You're healed. So
But
again,
we're talking about healing. You're talking about in the physical sense.
you're
We're talking
allowing,
about
you're
internal
allowing,
healing.
yes, internal
It's not,
healing
it
is
doesn't, it
internal
doesn't,
healing is finalized when you
no,
have the listen.
absolutely not.
Then you don't
Healing
understand your
doesn't,
father. Listen what I'm saying. You don't understand your father. Yo, look, I went to prison. They got something called KSAC, and you know they got drug programs,
I know
right?
KSAC.
I was molested by my mother.
Mhm.
Let me tell you, I was molested by my mother. I am healed. I was addicted to drugs. I mean, weed, drinking. I was an alcohol at 12 because I had all these things and memories from my mom. I was trying to block out and drown out.
Mhm.
I couldn't. I went through every form of therapy, every form. You know what helped me? God. You know what helped me? My father. And I went and I asked, I said, help me. God removed the desire out of me to smoke and drink. The desire is gone. No AA, no book, no, and I'm telling you real shit. No book, no group, none of that helped me. God took this, it was like a spirit. It
Mm.
was like an exorcism that had to happen. It was something feeding on me. And I fed it with alcohol and I fed it with weed, right?
Mm.
And God healed. See, when God heal you, you don't need no more band-aids. You don't even need a checkup. You healed.
Okay.
See, and the reinforcement. See, it'd be tough if we talking about man, right? It'd be tough if we talking. See, a lot of times I talk about my father, talk about God,
Mhm.
right? So I've been to a therapist. Prayer has done. You can't put your faith in man. You got to put your faith in God.
Yeah.
Put your faith in your Father. When you do that, that healing is permanent.
Mhm.
I will never drink again. I will never smoke again. Never. I
Mhm.
don't have to sit in front of no therapist, and I don't. I don't have to go to no AA meeting. Yes, hi, my name is Tom. I am an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic forever. Addiction is forever. No, it ain't.
Mhm.
The last time I smoked was 2006. Do the math.
Yeah.
And
I think that's beautiful
in
though.
one therapy session, you know what my one therapy session with my father was like? Help.
Yeah. And
It
I
was
think
no,
that's
it was no, it was
amazing
no, it was
though.
no notes. It was help. You
Yeah.
need me, my son? Ah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that's beautiful. But the thing is I feel like from just I love everything you just said. And I think that's powerful and
yeah,
beautiful.
sure.
Therapists encourage spirituality,
I
having a
just said you
spiritual.
don't understand, and
What
you
do you
showing you
mean?
don't
What do
understand.
you mean I
I
don't
never, I
understand?
never. What I said is you have to,
Therapists also aren't telling you.
you have to understand our plight. You cannot. You have to understand our spirituality. You have to understand us, who we are. So I am for therapy when it's rooted in Kemet, when it's
Okay,
rooted in who in our original teachings.
got you.
So if I'm her therapist, see, PSD, I'm gonna say you ain't got PSD, you got negative repetitive thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you change, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because when they go, what do you mean? Oh yeah, watch this.
But not every therapist uses labels though.
Because
Not every therapist says
because
you have PTSD. Some
because
do, but
you
not
can't,
all.
you don't understand our original teachings because
Who?
it's not taught.
Who?
I'm saying you meaning generalizing. Okay.
I'm hearing you, but what I'm
See what
saying,
I'm saying? Okay, listen. Who is the see, look, this is what I'm saying, right?
you
I
talking
don't want
about
to make this
black.
about a debate, right?
I
Because
think you
you're my
talking about
sister.
you.
We've been recording for an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
I can give y'all like
Perfect.
Mm,
5 to 7
thank you.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh,
But
yeah.
listen, so let me just say this last thing, because you're my sister, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is everything that we do has to come from our original teachings.
Okay.
And when it comes from our original teachings, the application of the science is going to be different.
Got you.
So notice how the first word I said to her, like, yo, did what you told about this? What you told about this? Because that awareness creates permanent healing in specific areas. And then when you understand how powerful repetitive thought is, when you understand how powerful affirmations is, when you understand how powerful self-talk is, when you understand how powerful saying I am healed, when you understand that you have the power to heal yourself and you need to be taught
But
now.
those are some things that are, that's the thing. I feel like the therapist will teach that based on what they actually like. You're making it seem like, okay, because the teaching is westernized, all therapists approach therapy in the same way. And that's not
They
true.
all do.
No, that's not true.
You can't get a degree. Listen, what I'm
That's
trying to
not
tell you. If
true.
you're a practice, so what I'm saying is you have to do your. Let me just say this last thing, right? Because it's obvious. I see like everybody else. You hold on to your false truths.
It's not a false
You
truth.
can't get a degree without, when you go home, right? This is some homework for people that's watching this, right? We got about 2 minutes left, right? Let me just say this. Go Google what it takes to be a therapist.
No, I can tell you right now. You don't got to Google it. I'll tell you.
No. Go Google what it takes to be a therapist.
I can tell you right
and
now.
go Google the introductory to psychology. And then go Google what school you have to go through and then go do some research and figure out what do they teach you first. They teach you nothing about Kemet. They teach you nothing about Egypt. They don't even teach you nothing about the Greeks learning from the Egyptians. They don't teach you none of this stuff. This is for a reason. So this is why I'm saying I'm not going to be taught how to heal myself from the library of my oppressor. I'm healed because I got the science of self. I have the knowledge of self. I have a relationship with my father. I'm healed from those traumas. I'm not addicted to nothing. I don't drink, smoke, none of that. Because my father healed me.
Yeah.
And when you get healed by God, it's permanent.
Yeah.
Permanent.
I believe that.
But when you get helped by man, it's temporary. Yeah.
I'm not arguing that point.
No,
I'm not arguing.
I still fuck
I'm not
with you,
arguing.
you know what I mean?
I also don't think my job is to be a healer, like heal you permanently. I think it's to give you the tools to be able to do it yourself.
You can heal permanently.
No, because
this is what I'm saying. You got to understand the power. This is what I'm trying to
listen.
This is why it's imperative.
We keep going back and forth on this pendulum. At the end of the day,
tell me we got 2 minutes left, so she can stop this.
T, do you think your therapist's job is to heal you?
Don't bring T in it.
T, do you think your therapist's job is to heal you?
Out of it.
Do you think your therapist should bring you to full healing, or do you think you should get the
my therapist supports me in my healing? But there's multiple.
Listen,
I gotta bring in multiple sources.
Listen. See, that's why I said, my dear sister, it's okay.
No, you're my brother. At the end of the day, you're my brother.
We're gonna have a part 2.
We'll have a part 2. I loved every minute of the conversation.
That's what we do. We're gonna do.
I loved it.
Everybody, we're gonna have a part 2. When is episodes coming out?
Probably sometime this week. Once I get it, it should be.
We're gonna have a part 2. You guys are gonna see the part 2 before you see the part 1. We're gonna have a part 2 on my Instagram live, the smart guy _.
You wanna do it on live?
Of course.
Let's do it on live.
Yeah, because I don't want to wait for this. I want to watch fresher. No, seriously, because I got a lot of shit going on. So while this is fresh on my mind, I want to. So we're gonna go live on my Instagram, the smart guy _. So if you're seeing part 1, go back on my page. It's gonna be me and her in the thumbnail. I'm gonna have a Yankee hat on. She's gonna have what she's having on, and we're gonna have and this caption is gonna say part 2. But I know you saw part 1 first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give my sister some time to educate herself. I'm gonna what's that word? I'm gonna breast her to certain information and certain benefits of that information, and I can guarantee you it's gonna change the conversation. Yeah. Yep.
Well, y'all, that was it. The Smart Guy, your Mental Matters podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed.
See, even that, that ain't good.
You know what? I can't put the peace sign up.
That's not peace. That's not peace. Listen,
I feel like you gotta let people. No, you gotta let people talk more.
Peace is this.
You gotta stop monopolizing the conversation. You gotta let people talk.
Talking about.
What?
Peace is this. Look, this.
T, can you take a picture?